Hi, old going shed here. Here I am in my best place in the world for me, my shed. Sorry about the delay in the last couple of episodes, but it's just things have just gone on top of us. It's really been quite horrendous. We've had DIY getting on with, which is not my forte. But we've also had rain, and rain depresses me at this juncture because I wanted to do the bike rides, I wanted to get out and do stuff, and it's been pretty bloody impossible. The plan for today is to spend time in here and take the Falcone wheels off to have them sent off for their new shiny chrome rims. I need to do finish off a little bit of work on the California. I've got to the bottom of the coughing and spluttering, which came down to a little bit of imbalance on the throttle bodies and snotty plugs mainly, I think. I also need to give a good looking at my much neglected Norge, which gets it neglected because it is so bloody reliable. You know, it really is. You just jump on the blasted thing and ride it across Europe, it's fine. But I do need to sort of make sure it's okay for the coming months where we are actually allowed to bloody ride bikes anywhere. I've got the paperwork back for my little Benelli so as I can get that registered. Now it's got its MOT and what have you. Which is quite good fun. I also have my Suzuki GT380 out here, which I've just dragged it out so as I can check it over. It is quite an interesting bike, but patently it's out of sync with everything else in here because it's not bloody Italian. I don't know, I own it. It's good. It's, when I ride it I think what a wonderfully for its time, it's a very civilised motorcycle. It isn't, you know, it's not a widowmaker that they used to call the Kawasaki triples. It's very civilised, very smooth. It does a wonderful job. I guess I would say it's a bit soulless, especially compared to this, the sort of the Falcone and the Guzzis and what have you. They sort of, they demand your attention, whereas this doesn't. You just kick the bloody thing up and ride it off, and you can park up and go and have an ice cream, come back, kick it up and come home, and that's kind of the end of it. But nice enough. This is an early one with the drum brake, the first of them, which apparently it is, for some weird reason, more what's the word I'm looking for? Desirable than the disc brake model. Don't know why, got no idea why, but it all sort of worked and it's all okay. But going back to the Italians, I've been looking at some quite interesting Italian motorbikes, notably a bike I can't afford, which is a 350, an MV Agusta 350 Sport, and it's like this far outside of my budget. I just can't quite afford it. Very pretty bike though, very, very pretty bike. Do I need it in my life? No. Do I want it in my life? Absolutely. But there you go. We'll see if that comes to any fruition. Something here will have to go to be able to afford it, because I can't afford it with all these, you know, it's as simple as that. Don't ask me why I want it, because I've got no idea why this is a thing. It's just a thing, and I'm worried as to whether or not I'm going to get obsessive about it. I shouldn't do. I'm too old to get obsessed by such things. I was thinking about this earlier today when I was talking to somebody else about various motorbikes, particularly of the 70s. And we were going through some of the bikes of the 70s. And it's amazing absolutely amazing. You had people like Kawasaki bringing in the Z1, and they were known for their triple two-strokes. You had Suzuki with the Kettle, and then all of a sudden they came out with the GS range, and the Kettle was so iconic. 3-cylinder, water-cooled, 750 two-stroke, what a machine. And then all of a sudden, 4-cylinder GSs came out, and you go, oh right, oh, this is what they're making. When you consider that Honda, by the 70s, they'd come in the late 60s with the 754, which was, wow, look at this motorbike, to, here's a Honda 750, and it became quite a cooking machine, not really anything to get excited over, which is quite interesting how quickly that happened to Honda. Well, there's all the other iconic bikes of that era, that, you know, the RDs, the RD 350, 250, 400s, Suzuki 500 Twin, and the GT 250, and all these people came out with all these wonderful bloody motorbikes, and there seemed to be a huge scope and range of what you could buy. We still had Norton, the Norton 750 Commando, which was a rattly old girl, it really was, but it was fast. Undoubtedly it was a fast bike, very weird with its rubber mounted engine hopping about inside there, looking a bit strange. We still had Triumph going, we had the Trident and the BSA Rocket 3. These are magic bikes, they really were something else again. And when they were set up properly, they sounded awesome, all of them. You know, from the GS through to... Then in amongst all of this, in amongst it all, along came Guzzi and took what... The 750 Ambassador was a very good machine, but nobody wrote home about it. And they came out with the V7 Sport, which is the Tonti frame that everybody sort of goes, wow. And I was very lucky in that a friend of mine had one of these things and wasn't using it, and I was stuck to get to work for a while. I didn't have a vehicle. Long story, I wouldn't bore you. But he said, borrow my bike. So I borrowed this bike for a week or two to go to and from work. And I remember it to this day. Going to work and getting there and having to work all day thinking, I want to get back on a bike to go home, because it was just a fantastic thing to ride. And now I own a couple of Guzzis, well 3, and I think to myself, was it that one period, that one couple of weeks in my life on this magnificent frame, on this magnificent engine, on this bike that was just so different from anything. I mean, everything was different to one another. I mean, Commando was different to Triumph and BSA, which was so different from anything from Japan. But this stood apart from all of them. It was all on its own. And anybody that really argues with that are arguing for all the wrong reasons, as I can see. The fact that it was Italian and came along with all the jokes about unreliability and not being able to do this, that and the other, and failing electrics and what have you. The reality is that that bike was reliable, because I remember going on trips with this guy. I forget what I was running at the time. Now I think about it, I know more about his bloody bike than the bikes I owned. I know I went up to Scotland once, from when I was living in the northwest, up to somewhere in Scotland for a rally, and he was on his Guzzi. I was on a Yamaha that broke down, that we got going again. Pal of mine was on his Honda, which strained to keep up with the 350 Twin, and he was on this wonderful big machine, and it was Italian Exotica. And we all thought, wow, what a bike, what a bike. And it never got him in trouble. I believe he still owns it. I don't know. I'll have to get in touch with him. He is on Facebook. No, I don't believe it. I know it. He still owns it. I don't think it's run for donkey's years, but he has got it there. And I don't know whether he'll ever build it and put it on the road, but that'd be nice if he did. Very nice if he did. But the reality is the core of what we ride now, which is things like the Cali, which is the same, in essence, same frame. The Norge, which is in essence that same, you can see the lineage of the bike with the engine, etc. Still got the shaft drive, wonderful idea. And the whole thing brings you to this point of fan status of Motor Guzzi. That isn't to say there weren't fabulously exotic bikes coming out of Italy. I mean, the Laverda Jota, that had icon written all over it, and people still get misty-eyed. Ooh, look, it's a Jota. And if you wanted an unreliable bike, I guess you could buy one of those. Because I know one guy had one, and it wasn't particularly reliable, but when it was running, and running well, he was just delighted with it. And you kind of get that, Never had a yen to own one, funnily enough. Don't know why, just haven't. They've never really caught my eye that much as I appreciate them. But when you sort of look at the Benelli 6, and that, you go, wow, look at that, 756. And they did a little 250 Quattro, 250 4 cylinders. Wow, what a great idea. Apparently it was slower than the little 250C, which, does that matter? Does it matter now? It mattered then when we were young men and everything was about how fast you went. But right now, I think it'd be nice just to own one, just to have it in your shed and go, wow, look at that, 4 cylinders on a 250. And that's all you could say for it, You just go, wow, look at that, I think that's pretty good. I think the ramblings of my motorcycling are kind of how a lot of us feel about motorbikes. And one of the things I do think, at the moment, when I go anywhere on the Falcone, I'll get off it, and you sort of look back at it, and you go, that's a weird thing. I'll get off the Norge and go, it's a good bike, look at that. The Benelli, I'll look back at and go, wow, they had something going for them back then, and saying, what a sweet little bike. I don't get any of this with the Cali. As much as it is great to ride and it handles really well, I don't look back at it and go, wow, look at that. Ooh, I've just ridden that. I don't get that second look that I think is required. Which is a bit sad. I'm hoping I grow into it a bit. Even with the Suzuki GT380 here, I look back and go, well, that's a handsome bike. It's quite nice to own. But I don't get that with the Cali at all. Poor Californian's getting a bit of a bum rap at the minute. I do need to ride it a bit more and sort of get into it a bit more, I think. So I'm not writing it off just yet. But it's currently how I feel. All my other bikes, I look back at them and go, having ridden them, you get off and you go, ooh, yeah, I like that. This, I get off and go, yeah, it's nice that, but I never turn around again. I never look back at the bike. I just don't. It's poor thing. I mean, the engine's lovely. I have to say, the engine really is lovely. It thumps away underneath you, and it delivers that power that is of Guzzi's own nature, and it does all of that, and it handles really nicely. Still not sure about the ergonomics, but I don't know, no idea. We'll have to wait and see. If any of you have similar sort of stories or feelings about how you look back on your bike having ridden them, I'd like to hear it in the comments, see if anybody else has this sort of view of their bike. Not only when you sort of get off and walk away, but when you're sort of going out for a ride, or you've been out for a ride, and you're cafe somewhere, and you're walking up and you go, can't wait to get back on that thing. And that's how I am with a lot of the bikes I have. I haven't experienced it with the Cali yet, because I haven't really been out that much yet. But like I say, if any of you guys want to comment on that, I'd really appreciate it, because I want to know if I'm the only lunatic out there that looks at his bikes like this. And it's nice to know that you're not howling at the moon all on your own. Do you think there's other people howling along with you? It'd be interesting to hear what you have to say about it. And if you've got any anecdotes, because I've got plenty, and I don't want to bore you with a lot of them. But it is interesting how you get very sort of involved with motorbikes. You get more involved with motorbikes, I think, than most other machines. You can get involved with cars, I guess. I have a lot of cars that I've enjoyed over the years, but I don't have that. Quite the same connection I get with a motorbike. I do connect with them really sort of easily, and like I said, I'm struggling with the caddy foot with it a bit. But we'll see how that goes in time. There will be another issue coming out when I've done the rims on this thing, and I've also still haven't forgot the video I want to do on how to repair plastics. Oh no, not how to repair, I'm not going to teach how to suck eggs. A trick I found, I think that's a better way of putting it. A trick that I have found that I believe is very good. So the next day or so I'll get that sorted and get it out here if it holds any interest. In the meantime, that's my phone. You can tell this isn't professional, don't you? An awful lot in this shed is very unprofessional. Well, yeah, it's not a professional shed. It's my shed. Look, I've got a lot of you. Leave me alone, I make my shed. And that's kind of how it is in here. I enjoy my own company in here quite a lot. And I have a very peaceful time in here. So, like I say, next couple of days I'll get back to you guys and see how we get on, and I'll show you what I've got up to, because this last few days I've got up to nothing at all. There's nothing to tell you, there's very little going on, and it's sad. So I'm back in here now, there will be stuff going on, shit will be happening, and I'll bring it to you as soon as it's finished. Okay, nice talking to you again. I'm going to wander over and turn off my camera and say goodbye. Press the like, press the share, press the subscribe, whatever it is. And I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks a lot.